Welcome to the eSales Podcast, your ultimate guide to mastering the art of online selling. Whether you're an entrepreneur, business owner, digital marketer, or sales professional, this podcast is the passport to dominating the digital marketplace. My name's V, your eSales navigator. Join me as we dive into the latest strategies, tools, tactics to help you automate and conquer the world of online sales. Get ready to boost your online sales game and unlock your full potential. Let's dive in. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone that's listening at the moment. Today we have Nicolas from Inbox Booster, and he's the CEO joining us all the way from Silicon Valley. And we're here in Australia, so it's great how we connect into two different areas of the world. And he's going to talk to us about email deliverability. And so this area is such an interesting space, especially for me right now, when I'm exploring more about how to actually send emails more effectively and more so not land in the spam inbox, for those of you who are not quite sure what email delivery is all about. So Nicolas, welcome, and I'm excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
No worries. So I think, I'd love to kind of, before we dive into what Inbox Booster is all about, let's talk about you and how you kind of got to where you are today.
I'm from France, and in France, when you don't have the right type of degree, it's really, really hard to get a job because it's like kind of lifetime employment, I would say. It's not at will. So people don't really, companies don't take chances. And it's very siloed. So if you're depending on where you're born, you'll get a certain type of jobs or not. It's kind of real like that. So because of that, and because I didn't have any skills, that's how I created my first business. Because in France, it's easier to create a business than to find a job. At least for me, and for a lot of people, it is. So I ended up doing that. The first one didn't work out. And then you don't need any money for that because so the first one didn't work out. The second one worked out, and that's kind of how I got into email. And then from that point, I did I launched other businesses. Some were successful or some not. But it's not a deep-seated need to create a business or anything. It's really just I need to make a living. I need to pay rent. So how do I do it?
Yeah.
I found that a lot of entrepreneurship advice are very misguided in that sense, that a lot of people would create a business kind of just to make a living. Or for instance, say you have young kids, you cannot go do 9-to-5 jobs because it's impossible. Because it doesn't conflict with your schedule, so you need to create, and you still need to pay rent. So you create a business. So it's a lot of the situations are like that, and then you have a lot of people who wants to create a business because they want to make it rich and all that. But my guess is 95% of the people who wants to do that just wants to make a living.
Yeah.
Which is my case.
Yeah.
And then it worked. And then it worked out, and I'm still at it. But I have a little bit more freedom in what I choose to do.
Yeah, of course. I like that so much. A lot of people, you're right, start because they want a vision, they want to do this, they want all this, impact the world. Yours is like a little bit different, just to make a living. And I think I like that. Sometimes it's just raw, you know what I mean? Sometimes we don't need to kind of do all these crazy things. Sometimes it falls into our lap because we have to do it. So interesting. I like that. And so how did you get into email specifically?
So I got into email because so my first business failed, and I had to find a job, and that was the only people who would want to hire me. And so it's really random. And because I didn't have a degree, and in France life is really, really hard when you don't have a degree, I decided to go back at school at night classes. And there, the teacher of one of my professor was actually the one who designed the spam filter for a big ISP of the time, which is called AOL, which barely exists now. And so I was able to kind of score and they just deployed their new spam filter, and they had problems. I was able to fix those things just because that guy explained me how it's working. So I looked like I looked like the guy who knew everything about this very, very obscure subject. First, I don't tell them it's because I was at school and they told me. I was like, just talents, and so that's basically how I got in it. And then I created a business in the space because there were clearly some new opportunities that arose, and that's basically how it went. So then I sold it and found some.
Yeah, amazing. And so how did Inbox Booster come about?
So Inbox Booster is based, so it's a bit of a story. I moved to the US
Yeah.
We were doing at that time we were doing some type of compilers type of project,
Yeah.
and I moved to the US with that, but we raised a little bit of funding, but we didn't have enough runway. So we were doing something for Copilot at that time, so like AI and all that, but they
Yeah.
were doing a plugin for that. The
Yeah.
problem was that at that time it was not clear that it would be a huge AI would be a huge thing, and they were a
Hmm.
plugin for ChatGPT, which turned out
Yeah.
to be a huge business. But
Yeah.
at that time, I didn't know, and this thing is really really hard to build.
Yeah.
So I would know in a year if this would work out or not. So like, yeah, let's do something else because it's just too expensive for us.
Yes.
Which in hindsight was really really the wrong it was the wrong decision taken for the right reasons
Mm.
because the outcome would have been that we would have been would have been able to raise a huge amount of money and all that. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we moved back to email, and what I did is figure out that lots of people, a lot of companies had deliverability problems. They were
Yes.
all hitting spam. They didn't know why, and the
Yeah.
only option was to hire an expensive consultant.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Uh,
That's right.
and this had lots of disincentives in the sense that the consultant is a consultant, so
Mm.
they'll try to stay as long as possible in the business, even if the
Yeah.
business don't need it. And also, it's going to be very expensive for a lot of companies because
Yeah.
a good consultant will be like 2,000 per month, which is
Yeah.
an amount that not a lot of companies want to pay.
Mm. Hmm.
And a lot of the problems are actually one type of problems that are actually easy to solve. So if you empower the actual people
Yeah.
who have the problem to explain, they
Right.
explain, and you teach them how to not do that again,
Yeah.
then you can build a service that's much cheaper, that works
Yeah.
as well, and that's kind of do good in quotation for the world in the sense that you're kind of improving the ecosystem because they stop if they have problems, usually it's because they've done something wrong. You tell them what's wrong
Yeah.
and they can improve. And so
Yeah.
that kind of creates a virtuous cycle where things are getting better and better. By
Yeah.
opposition, as being a consultant and trying to have your customer trying to stay as much as possible
Yeah.
within the team and bed with the team and kind of create problems that are or try to solve problems that are not really important. That's kind of why we were, and so we kind of rebuilt completely the service from the ground up with a lot more automation,
Yeah.
a lot less explanation, I would say,
Yes. Yes.
and a lot more empowerment for the users.
Yeah.
So that's why we give away a lot. That's why we don't really impose on selling and all that. And in practice, our customers stay 2 to 3 months with us, and usually they leave unless it's super important and they kind of keep having problems here and there, or they're huge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, amazing, amazing. I like that. I think the model of, not selling too hard, to just building based off, good value and like automations and simplicity is really important. I think there's too much noise out there, and sometimes it's hard to find the root cause of certain issues. So I'm really keen to kind of dive in some of the key like issues that you find clients face when it comes to email marketing slash deliverability in the first place.
So in the case of female, actually, let me show you. So that's one user, just free users. So free users where we can share is public information. So
Yeah, sure.
we
Would
can
love
share.
to.
If you sign up an account, we can
Yes.
share. And it's free, but just so it's clear. So you go on Inbox Booster. So you go on Inbox Booster,
Yeah.
which is really just here. So when you so you go in Inbox Booster and you send an email, I'll just show you. Um, so so you go here, you send an email to these
Yeah.
addresses, and then you'll get results here. And this is a result for one last user. And so that's important because it's telling you where the problems are.
Yeah.
So the first thing we do, and again, this is free, we'll tell you if your email is in spam or not. So
All
that's
right.
actually that's a lot harder to figure out than you think on Outlook and Gmail. So it's every email box, which are powered by Outlook or by Gmail.
Yeah.
The thing here is it's a lot harder to know than it sounds because you need to create the test address because spam filters are smart enough to know that they want
Mm.
to receive email for you and they don't want to receive email from anybody else. So you might be an inbox for to use to yourself when you're testing by yourself, but if you send to someone else, they will not know it will be in spam. So you need to use special addresses, which is what we're giving you.
Mm.
And then if you're in spam, and in this case they're in spam, you need to know why. So usually you have really three types of answers or problems. One is your DNS. In this case, it's a DNS. So there needs to be in your DNS, it's like a plumbing. There needs to be certain field that needs to be filled a certain way. Usually, your provider will tell you how to do that, and you haven't done it properly. So we're happy to help you, but usually you can do it yourself by reading the documentation properly.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Second problem you'll have is reputation. So reputation, what they're really saying is from what they know, from what, for instance, in this case, Google, from what they know is your email is in spam. So you need to do some things to change it. So usually it's because you've sent bad emails
Yeah.
in the past. So
Yeah.
there are ways to fixing it. But in practice, it's really involving stopping to do that and sending on better emails. And so that's kind of where you have to do your work. We help you by kind of guiding you, but it's really in your database. You need to, if you're doing sales, you need to target better, you need to understand better
Yeah.
your ICP and all that.
Yeah.
And then there is a last problem, which is content analysis. So
Yeah.
it's really about the wording of your email that sends you to spam. So we tell you which words to change, and usually that works.
Yeah.
And what's hard about all that is sometimes kind of a mess of issues. Usually it's a mix of the three. So you have one, then we need to wait. So you need to fix, for instance, your content. So for instance, we fixed Y Combinator newsletter.
Yeah.
And they had a problem with their content. Initially, it's because they imported a MailChimp-based template, so they were in
Yeah.
promotion and spam because of that. And
Yeah.
then they had a reputation problem, and it's because they've sent email to some people that has been on their newsletter for 10 years, and they never pruned them, and they were not opening their email or anything. So in this case of this user, they just need to add a DNS entry. So they need to change a little bit of their plumbing, and
Yeah.
that should work. But we don't know. They need to do it, wait 48 hours and retest. And if there is one thing you need to learn to remember from that podcast is that you need to test your email. You can test inbox, you can use inbox booster, you can use other tools, but you can create test addresses if you want. But you need to do that regularly because open rates are not very reliable. And when you have a problem, you don't really know if it's because it's your campaign or it's because you have a deliverability problem.
Yeah. Okay. And so, testing is so important. Like you said before in the graph thing that there was also the content in the email as well. Whether you send it without allowing people to opt into your channel, that on channel your emailing lists and things. So I guess the question is, you say test often. How do we know when to test? How often do we test? Is there
So
too
you
much
test
testing, too little testing?
no, you test once per month or once per week. It
Yeah,
depends
okay.
how often it is, but if you see a problem, if you have a drop, something doesn't work as you expect, then you want to test.
Yeah.
And if you see, and otherwise you need to have like a once per month test something and just make sure it's working.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
kind of enough. Unless usually this type of so usually you'll have problems. Deliverability problems happens when you're either growing really fast or decreasing your revenue really slow.
Yeah.
In the sense that you have a problem that's kind of, so things are changing either good or bad, but that's when you start these problems happens.
Yeah,
Because for
okay.
instance, if you have a decrease in revenue, there will be pressure to send more email. So
Oh,
usually you'll
yeah.
send more email. That can
True.
trigger this type of problem.
Yeah.
But conversely, if you're growing really fast, you will also get more emails. You will probably send more emails also from sales or from other things, and that's where problems happens. So it's kind
Yeah,
of one or
okay.
the other.
If you're going too fast or you're declining really fast.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. That's really interesting. And so I'm keen to find out. So if someone is actually no, let's go back to like email marketing and its purpose and why it's important to actually continue with email marketing. Some people say email marketing's dead. Some people say Facebook groups are dead. Some people say Facebook ads are dead, right? But there's some people saying that email marketing isn't as relevant anymore because not many people open their emails because there's so much coming in. What do you say to that?
What I'm saying to that is well, first, it's actually the short answer is yes and no, which is not really helpful. It depends what you're selling to. It depends what you're selling. For email market, there is sales email, there is marketing email, there is interpersonal email. So it really depends what you're doing. Now, at some point in like 20 years ago, you could send an email to anyone. It would work. You would have people who would be really happy to buy from you, even if you didn't know them. Now it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
That is correct. That doesn't mean it's dead. But what is really happening is email is not growing. Like the number of mailbox will not grow. So if you have anything that's kind of built on growing the market share automatically, because the market will grow, that will not happen. So you need to it starts to be a little bit of a zero-sum game. But you still see a lot of activities within that. For instance, at some point you had a lot of notification emails. They have been replaced by phone notification. Newsletter were dead at some point and replaced by a blog, but now they're back.
Yeah.
So it's just it is here. In
Yeah.
practice, the analogy I'm often giving is email is like your physical mailbox, and if
Yeah.
you check what you have in it, you have junk mail, you have very important mail like from the government, invoices, and so on, and so everything official. And you have weird things like postcards or kind of random things. So that's what you get, and that's what you have in it. So you'll have invoices that you want to keep. So stuff that like it's a standard, at least in Occidental countries, because in China they don't use email a lot, but
Yeah.
in a lot of in Europe, in Australia, in the US, it's a center of your digital life.
Yeah.
So you need it. If you don't have email, I would say, like administratively speaking, you'll have trouble
Yeah.
for paying. You will a lot of things will not be possible. So you need email. Now, what happens is before you used to check your email like every 5 minutes.
Yes.
Now people are checking them once per day or once
Yeah.
every couple of days.
Yeah.
But kind of like your physical mailbox, some people are obsessed with it and they check it every 10 minutes.
Yes.
Probably not at least 2 times per day. Some others will check them once per week.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see. I'm that
So that's
person who,
kind of,
yes.
sorry.
No, go.
So you're checking it what, once per week or once per day?
No, I'm
Your
not checking
mailbox?
it like often. Like it's like as often as it comes in. You know, it's like a notification. I love my inbox.
Yeah. Okay. But your physical mailbox, how often do you check it?
Oh yeah, like once or twice a week.
Okay, so that's because you work with email, but a lot of people are not going to work with email. Say you're, say for instance, you're a doctor.
Yeah.
You're going to check your email, but you'll do it like your personal mailbox. You'll check it maybe once or twice per week because it's not that important. And your professional mailbox is just going to be a lot of work-related things that are not
Yeah.
super important. Otherwise, you'll be told differently. So
Yes.
you'll check them once per day. And so that's kind of what I'm saying, for instance. So in other words, it became from something that where people were kind of it was like plugged into you to something that to just a tool. And
Yeah.
it's kind of I would say a healthier way to work.
Yeah.
Now you have people like you or lawyers or VCs, they check their email they really answer their email within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's kind of the minority of the people now. That's kind of what has changed. And now, if you kind of project that fact into marketing and sales email, it's the same idea. Like said, sales email, marketing email, they will be checked once per week. So you'll have maybe before you had like five or 7 times or maybe 50 times for your email to be read. Now you'll have only once. So so you should answer by actually sending less email, but more important.
Yes, more
instead of trying
important.
to send more.
Yeah, okay, I like that. And I guess it comes back to actually really knowing your audience and whether they actually spend time on email or if it's another channel that they spend their time on, I suppose. And so, you know, and that kind of brings me to my next question is, you know, there's so many inboxes and emails that get sent. Like, how do you ensure that your email gets read? Like, what are some key things that you find that is a good email, especially for, let's just say, an example of outreach?
So there is two questions here actually. There is two questions in the discussion. The first one is what is a good email, and the second one, how do you make sure your email is read? First of all, open data like doesn't really work, so it's not really helpful to tell you who's reading an email. And the second thing is assuming your email is in inbox, in primary inbox, your email will be read out for sales email only if the subject is enticing. That's the only thing that will tell you if the subject if it's going to be read.
Yeah.
Now, Apple and Google soon will start to provide summary of your email.
Yeah.
But if you want your email to be read, it's mostly the subject that matters. So, and you have two ways to doing it. Either you do a kind of a clickbait type of subject like free money,
Yeah.
or but then They might be really upset if it's not free money.
Yeah.
Or you just say like a random thing, like the thing like, hey, this is an intro between me and this other person, and you're going, which is a traditional thing, like, oh yeah, I might know this person, but it's the same thing. It's a little bit of clickbait. Or you have the totally not working subject, like, hey, would you like to streamline your business operations and spend less money and make more money? And you're like, yeah, okay, that doesn't really mean anything. So to answer, so this is really sorry. So to answer your question, the key, if you want to write now a good subject, because that's really so that boils down to it, is the less words it needs to fit in on your smartphone. So
Yeah.
less words possible. Be as specific as possible, because you don't want people to read it if they don't care. That's kind of the thing. So,
Yeah.
or you want to know how to prioritize it. So I think that's my approach to this type of thing, is to be as straightforward as possible and keep it simple. Because you have, say you're going to email, say you're in sales, you're going to email the CEO of a large corporation. This person might read your email. They'll definitely read the subject. But you have one job. So if you want it to count, and if you send an email, say, hey, I'm selling this thing, and this is if you write like huge opportunity in your subject, this is not a good subject, because it doesn't tell you what this is about. And if you're like, I don't know, like for instance, something that you see a lot of cold email. Let me check my cold email folder.
Yeah. Yeah. Go check your copy folder.
Let's do that. For instance, I have an email marketing that's like trick or sweet, which doesn't really tell me what it is. I have a cold email about how to craft irresistible cold email offers,
Okay.
which is an example of at least I know what I'm looking for. Or I have, for instance, from AWS, urgent action required, your certificate renewal.
Yeah.
So this is my spam box, by the way. Or I have welcome to the future of AI fundraising, which I have no clue what that is. So that's an example of something that's not working.
Yeah.
That's an example of something that's definitely not working. So that's interesting that I made spam for that. Or for instance, I got into an after party for, 'cause there is a Y community reunion like next week, and this landed in spam, for instance. So
Yeah.
this is an example of a deliverability problem. So to answer your subject, it needs to be to the point. It's really really short.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, and so basically you want to know what you're kind of getting into. So by opening that email,
Yeah.
and you
Okay.
shouldn't have a surprise. That's really the key thing with mobile is email is really short. So you need to convey in 1 to 2 lines what you want to sell, and
Yeah.
the person kind of like this what you say when you fundraise, you have this thing called the elevator pitch, which is really say in 10 seconds
Yeah.
or less what you're doing, and it really allows you the other person to say, I'm interested, or really I don't care. So
Yeah. True. True. True.
so this is really more it's not so people get it wrong, because it's really just an orientation pitch. It's like, okay, am I going to be interested or really not? It's not about convincing, it's more about saying this is what I'm doing, and oh, okay, it's looking interesting, tell me more, or really I don't care.
Yeah. So
So this
true.
is what it's about email. It's
Yeah.
really so this is what you want to convey in your first email. So your subject should convey that, and the first email should be around that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And I'll give you just one example to be clear. Say
Yeah.
I'm selling some HR solution,
Yeah.
and my HR solution is much better because it's AI enabled, and it's really taking care of everything. And there is really you don't have to do anything you don't have to do anything. And I'm onboarding new employees, and I'm taking care of payments and all registration and compliance by magically. Okay, they just have just with the email address of the employee. It's a random example. So if I'm selling by saying, "Hey, new HR solution with AI" as a subject, nobody cares. If I'm like 0 time spent for onboarding with
Yeah.
my new tool, this might be interesting. But now, if I'm actually the HR manager and I've just bought a new tool, I don't care.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read your email, and it might be interesting, but I'm never going to buy it
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
just signed up for a new thing.
Yes.
So that's an example. And instead of trying to email and harass the other person a lot to convince them to buy, they usually know if they want to buy or not. That's valid for B2B because it's very logical, it's very rational. Like people
Yeah.
need to buy because they have a need. or they're not going to buy if they can avoid it, basically.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And yes, B2B is very different. Like yes or no, I want it quick. I'm not good, don't have that much time. Delete or not delete. Yes, and I like that. Really short, sharp, and simple. And I think, the point about being really specific. Sometimes, some emails and stuff are just super long. I don't even read it. I just scroll through
Yeah.
it, even though it might be relevant to me, but I just click the delete button straight away because it's wasting too much of my time. And so
Yes. And sorry to interject, but the sender didn't earn the time to waste your time.
yeah,
Didn't earn the right, sorry, not the time, but didn't earn the right to waste your time because you don't know that person. So why would you spend 10 minutes trying to figure out what they want?
yeah,
It's the sender's job to make it clear in a way that's not wasting your time. And not
yeah.
wasting your time is orienting you like, am I wasting my time here or not?
Yes, yes, so true, so true. So it's literally your job, so that's the person writing the email's job to make it clear, make it easy, make it simple. It's like it's like a responsibility that you have.
Yeah, it's almost a moral contract in the sense that you're emailing me. I don't know you.
Yeah,
Why would you? Why would I? Why would I waste my why would I waste my time by trying to figure out about you? I don't know. I don't care.
yeah,
So unless you tell me something that's interesting for me.
yeah, yeah. So
And
true.
something that's interesting for me is not proving that you've done your homework. It's not proving that that you've made it, that you looked at my LinkedIn profile or something. It's really about telling me something that I care about.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. So
I'm
true.
selling that stuff. Are you interested? Yes or no?
Yeah,
And the answer is usually unusual. Is people will answer like, no, we're never going to buy that thing because we don't care, or yeah, it's not a problem. Like I checked out a competitor product, for instance, this morning,
yeah,
and they sent me an email about explaining me that because I went on that web page, I probably want to buy more. I want to buy some of their solution because our company are like, sure, and give me the price because it's like contact us, but I don't know anything, and this is an automatic email about that, and yeah, you can check prices on the website without the intent to buy,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So true.
and it's a little bit over the top to start to automate by sending an email at this part of the pipeline.
I get it. I get it. I see. I get it, especially because you're not interested. And you're right. Lots of people join websites and look at prices and like, now I'm not interested in go. And then you receive like a ton of inbox emails after, and you're just like, nah, I don't want this, and then unsubscribe.
So
Um,
another example is we tested all of the email tester on the market.
yeah,
And because that's our job, so of course we look at the competition, and we're the only one who gives us this information for free. But on top of that, we're the only one who don't harass with email because I signed up to a couple of them, and they were sending me one email per day to buy a tool from them. Of course, I'm checking out competition here, so I'm not going to buy from them. But on top of that, one email per day is a little bit over the top. It's not because and that's something I know because it's my business. So 90% of those people who are going to send to use this email tester are never going to pay because they either have a budget, kind of a willingness to pay or not, and some people just don't want to pay, and that's fine. But then sending them one email per day is it's just wrong because they're never going to buy, so you're just bothering them for nothing. And on the other hand, the people who wants to pay are usually active about because they want to take care of that problem, so they want someone to do it for them.
mm,
So so that's kind of so of course you're not we're going to be willing to pay and not wait. It's not by sending them one email per day that it will work. That's kind of that's another example of something you can do here
yeah,
or not
interesting.
do.
So then I like that. It's a very different model. Not as upfront and more just like passive here. You come to me, then we come to you type model. So how do you approach your kind of sales pipeline? So how do you get what happens when a lead comes in?
Oh,
Um,
on our side, it's on our side it's simple because so when we do outreach, because there are a lot of other companies trying to do that, and they're very aggressive with email in our company, in our competition space. They're not very nice, I would say. They don't really play nice, and they're not very ethical because a lot nobody's believing us. So if you tell like, hey, I found that your email is in spam, they're not going to believe us, and it's to the point where unless you recommend it, they will not believe you
yeah,
because they'll be like, oh yeah, they're trying to sell me some stuff for a 1 year contract for another prompt that's not even real. I don't care. I don't trust those guys. First of all, they don't have to trust us because they don't know us. But on top of that, what we found is competition is I'm sure it's a lie, but they're giving wrong information out there.
Mm.
So that means that average for us is really hard. Not big, and I know the space. So and that's kind of one thing to understand is average can work or not. On the other hand, because none of our competition is really giving things away, because they want to charge $2,000 per month or 500 or something like that, but that's kind of their sweet spot forever. And we don't care about that. We can give a lot away. So that's more what we do. So we build trust by giving things, which is why also I'm here to talk to you about deliverability. So I'm giving this expertise that a lot of other people would charge for
Yeah.
because we make money for the people, because the market is huge, and we're happy to charge not a lot of money to a lot of people. And we're also happy to not keep those people forever. So we just, our customers stay 2 to 3 months. So because of that, we have a very different sales motion. And in practice, it's like self-service, not we
Yeah.
tried more complicated sales, but it's not more complex sales, but it's not really working because customers don't, for them, the way they look at it is more, it's a one-time problem,
Yeah.
and it's unlikely to be a recurring problem. So they're okay to spend a little bit of money, but they don't want to spend a lot of money on it.
Mm.
And they don't want to spend a lot of money on a recurring basis. Some are interested in that, but it's really the probably, well, I know it's probably 1% of the customer base.
Yeah.
So, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So we're after the 99%.
Yeah. After the night, yeah. Of course.
So
Yes.
we tried complex sales motion, but it didn't really work. I mean, again, no, but and it kind of makes sense. Like, who would like to pay a lot of money for that? It should work, and also usually it's because the company is doing something wrong, so it's easier to fix it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if the companies are not fixing it, then they shouldn't pay us. So that's kind of how we do it.
Yeah. And so, okay, that kind of brings me to my next point. I like that self-service, and I think there's a lot of people who are sort of burnt, if that makes sense, or from just hardcore selling or just being too sold to. And I guess that's sort of part of this podcast in terms of how to get sales online in an authentic, easy way. And I guess self-service is definitely one when people come to you, you see that you're delivering value, they build trust in you, and then they buy at discretion and when they want and when they desire. And so I guess another tip or question that I wanted to ask is, what can people either scaling so fast or commenting down or whatever stage that they're at can do like correctly to make sure their emails are, one, landing in the inbox, and two, delivering good. You've already said things about the good value, but mainly about the landing in the inbox. What can they do as a practice?
I'll answer that, but just one thing about the self-serve I wanted to add is
Yes.
it kind of emerged. It emerged because I did a lot of sales initially. I
Yeah.
talked to customers, and I was able to see the pattern that they don't really want to pay more,
Yeah.
and we would be able to convert more if we charge a little bit less and all that. But you need to start by talking with people. So before you automate anything, you need to know your thing really, really well.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
talked to maybe 500 customers directly, which sounds like not a good use of my time, but actually it is because I was able to detect some patterns here. I was
Yeah.
able to see what they want, and
Yeah.
not only what we do, but also what they want. And that was kind of plus also it's fun, but also but that's kind of what you can gauge. So you really to do it yourself,
Yeah.
even if it's not profitable, and the price is not something you set. It's the customers who are selling it. They're like, oh yeah, we want to pay for this type of service, we pay $1 million, or and then you build your service around that. Or for this type of service, like $10. But it's and then you build your service around. It's not so much you who decide that, kind of looking at what's out there and how the demons look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to you have a little bit of control over it, but not as much
Yeah. Yeah.
as you think.
Yeah. I like that.
So
I like how you talk to customers and you actually listen and implement. I think that's so key, so important, because without listening, you don't have feedback, and without feedback, you don't have a good quality product that has good reviews and have people coming back. So, good on you for doing that. And I think it's really, really healthy practice for not just like startups, for any company in any phase, in any revenue line, in any business and industry. So important. So I think, high five to you, Nicholas,
thank you.
for doing that.
And the reason we tried outreach and it didn't work is because we could see that some people were really landing in spam, and they really didn't believe us, and they didn't want to work with us because they didn't know us and they don't have any way to find out if we were going to sell some real things or not. So it just makes it really, really painful because then we'll charge enough to build this type of relationship. So
Yep.
it's easier to give it away. So that's just a kind of, you need to kind of go around this maze and iterate and try and kind of try to make sense of it. Kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you're in a party, you need to kind of feel the dynamic of it, whose group are there, where's the food, this type of dynamic. So you need to orient yourself. So that's kind of what you need to do. And initially, you want
Mm.
to talk to a lot of people and try to figure it out.
Yep.
But you need to understand that you're learning, you're exploring, and after that, then you'll automate, you'll industrialize, you'll try to see how you can make money, but maybe you'll decide that it's not possible. But
Yeah.
that's kind of fun. And now about email.
Yes.
So first you need to test on Inbox Booster. Do that once per week, once per month, whenever or when you see something weird, just and that's kind of enough. And now sending a bad email, the magic of deliverability means that your email will end up in spam at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll you then you can call us or you can fix it yourself. But the point is, this is kind of the fact that you have bad deliverability. It can be caused by totally technical reasons. It's ready to address, and if you test it, you'll get them. You can, if you test it on Inbox Booster, it will tell you what to do, and it's free, so you can fix it. Or totally random reason that has nothing to do with you. Same thing with Inbox Booster. This is paying, but we'll tell you what to do, and you can get it, and you're done. And everything that's reputation is usually, and 90% of the cases, stuff it's caused by your own behavior. So you need to change your own behavior. So here we help you, but you can also work it out yourself.
Okay.
If you help it, again, it's your job because you're the one who knows what you're selling to or what you're sending to whom. But we'll help you.
Yeah.
And the idea here is this is usually because you're sending the wrong type of email or to the wrong person.
Yep.
So this is kind of what's to explore.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
a lot of us who work into consultants do work and have good results. So we have a customer there in they're selling they're sending they have a trucking they're selling a marketplace for trucking company for trucks.
Yep. Yep.
And they have ways to get all the companies and they're sending, and in theory it's kind of spam. It's not, you don't have the opt-in and all that, but it's kind of in the gray area. Plus actually those trucking companies are actually happy to receive those emails at the vast majority. So there is just a kind of, so this can work. It's really the kind of the golden rule is really just don't annoy people and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you see in sales, especially with automations, is it's really, really easy to kind of not think about it. And it's
Yeah.
really, really easy to say, oh yeah, I'm okay, it's the 25th of the month. I'm a salesperson. I need to make my quota. Okay, so I'll just instead of sending to 100 people, I'll send it to 1,000. That's where you have problems.
True. So true.
So,
So true.
because you'll be annoying 900 people because you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of short-term gain, and that's kind of where you have fun because the systems are made to prevent that from happening, to kind
Yeah.
of give you a
Yeah. Yeah. And if we kind of go back to the principles, and that really resonates with me, right? Like, because sales is a numbers game, but you have to be talking to the right people. Um, um, it also kind of translates into technical as well. So just like I'm just thinking, it's kind of clicking to me, like as soon as you talk to someone that's not interested and they put you into spam, you're just chasing the wrong people. It's the same thing with email, right? If you want to put it just to people
yeah.
to people, if you're sending the wrong people the wrong thing, they put you into spam, then eventually your inbox will land in spam. And so it's sort of like same principles, except technical versus people. But I think that's really quite clever and kind of for me easy to comprehend and easy to understand, more.
Thank you. But
It's
yeah,
awesome.
it's but that's so that's exactly the thing, and it's yeah, and that's exactly what I said. It is, and the deliverability thing is a mix of technical problems plus business problems, and it's just a way to find something that works. But in effect, really, what Founder wants is they want you to send email that people want to receive. The problem is if you're in sales, that's what you see a lot is sending to people who don't care. For them, there is no negative effect to it, so it's kind of easy to do. But the spam filter makes it not worth doing. But
Yeah.
also, there is another organizational problem at the team level, which is the SDR will actually make their quota at the cost of the companies for the
Oh
next
yeah.
quarter.
Yeah. 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 That's another thing too.
So So that's no, but that's actually what's happening. So that's where you have that's how we make money. I would say, but that's one of the way we make money. But no, but then in practice, it's because you have to need to have someone to do that, and depending on how aggressive the company, you might need in this case you might need someone just to check those things. You pay to check those things that is working, or if the companies is in not necessarily if they're not aggressive, but if they're already careful with that, then they just need to test once in a while and they'll be fine.
Yeah, okay, I see. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good. And so, I think, for people who are, listening to this episode right now, whether they are new or whether they're just holding a company right now, looking at email deliverability, how do they get in contact with you and how do they find out more?
That's super easy to go on inboxbooster.com and they can actually even book a meeting with me, or they can just type, or they can just test for their email by themselves.
Perfect. Go to inboxbooster.com. I'm definitely going to check it out. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of having a look and seeing what the emails kind of say and what it comes up with. So thank you, Nicolas. But before we finish off, is there any last words, any last tips that you'd like to give to the audience?
One thing I said is, and I keep saying that over and over, is you really, 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 really want to test your email. That's kind of the only, if there is one thing you want to remember, is that you want to test your email and you want to, and there are solutions. Whether even if you're in spam, there are solutions. It's more a matter of what you want to do and how you want to address it. But it's really there are solutions. And again, it's also besides the technical part of it, which happens once or like you have a word creates a problem, which happens once in a while, meaning once per year or once every 2 years. The rest is really under your control.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't sell a subscription, because in a way, the way we look at it is as it's your job, so you should know how to do it. So if you don't, then we'll explain you and we'll teach you how to do it. But after that, this is part of that should be on your side.
Yeah. Amazing. Yes, test, always test. Things change all the time in the dynamics of the digital world. And yes, definitely use Inbox Booster, as it's got a free tier as well, which is absolutely amazing. So people can check it out. So Nicolas, I've really, really enjoyed having a chat with you this morning / your afternoon.
Thank you, me too. Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to get in contact soon. And for those of you who are listening, please reach out. I'll have the link in the description below. So check it out, reach out to him, book a call. And then all the best with everyone's email deliverability. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you listening into the show today. And if you did like our content, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or this YouTube series, so that way we can keep giving you more content and sharing you more knowledge around how to scale your sales online. And if you are wanting to boost your sales online, please sign up to our e-sales school, where you will learn to automate and navigate your way around in this digital marketplace. Thank you so much once again. I really appreciate you joining in today. And remember to keep selling, keep having fun, and keep being you.